the BBP TV show since 2012, where amazing guests share their digital adventures. Who will we meet today? Small biz influencer, up-and-coming trendsetter, accomplished author? You never know who'll be dropping by. And now, here's your host, Elaine Lindsay, the bionic glamourpreneur with True Social Media, who's the second most curious person on the planet.
Hello there. I'm so happy to be back, and today I have a very special guest because this guest has a very personal connection to me. And for people who've known me for a long time, I want you to don't adjust your set. This is the me you're now seeing. And I will say this is a me that is close to 80 pounds less than the me that was here a mere 18 months ago. Welcome. Hello, Fiona.
Hello, Elaine.
I'm so excited to present Fiona. So without further ado, I'm just going to get into it. Fiona Robertson, she's the body whisperer. She's an intuitive health and life worth living coach. She's a healer, as I said. She helps you to access your own practical magic. That je ne sais quoi that we have right at our fingertips. Now, Fiona re-educates you on how to tune into your own intuition and how to access that practical magic, living intuitively with spiritual coaching. This is how to know yourself by having a new relationship with your new body, a new way with money, and experience a new ways to relate soulfully with Fiona. As I said, she's the body whisperer. She's the author of Practical Magic and a teacher of accessing intuition at all levels with her online programs. She's the creator of the Retreat Biarritz. It's a 7-day deep dive retreat in beautiful southwestern France, where Fiona lives. And she's also the creator of the very popular Home Detox Box, which helps you to prepare to receive spiritual assistance and to be a clear channel for that intuition and your soul messages. She actually introduced me to my soul. And Fiona says, practical magic sets you free. So welcome once again. It's so good to have you with me.
It's so awesome to be here, and I see that we're both tickled pink to be here today.
Isn't that lovely? Yes. It's a very pink day, shall we say? I'm raising the vibration here because it's a very damp and rainy day, and we're getting snow. Can you believe? It's coming up the May. You know, it's May, for God's sake. We shouldn't be having snow. However, one just grins and bears it. At least one does now, after working with you.
Yeah.
And I have to say, it's going to be a very meandering road, folks, because I actually met Fiona through a sales trainer, and I met her in an accountability group. And it was, let's say, it was a bit of a head-butting moment when we met, because in fact, I think we have a lot in common. And I wanted to present her to you, my audience, because what she does is so unique and so different. And I've waited, at this point, I would say well over 30 years to get to the place I'm at now, where I am completely unified in me. I am completely happy in who I am, and I've learned to love myself. And that's all thanks to Fiona. So yes, in fact, that is absolutely practical magic. But part of that practical magic, and where I think I want to start, is, Fiona, I tell people, and whether you understand it or not, you introduced me to my soul.
Yes.
Explain to the audience why that matters.
Okay, simply put, because I'm being asked to just share it very simply, you are already soul. You are already, there's so many different words for it. So I'm just going to mention a few of them and you'll catch on wherever you are, understanding your intuition, understanding the bigger picture. So some people say God, some people say the divine, some people say the universe. We all know now about law of attraction and everything else. So I talk about soul because inside you is you. You are a soul. And there's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect just the way you are. But unfortunately, the human mind is conditioned and the human body seems to be conditioned. And as soon as you reconnect with the soul and you kind of go, oh, I get it. Wow. And you start having communication and you start seeing the signs and you start understanding where soul has come in and intervened. In other words, that relationship's old for you now. Get out of there, Fiona. Get out of there. Move on already. And you're like, no, I'm hanging on because you have a dream of your future. You have a vision. And your soul is going, it's over. There's something way better for you around the corner. So your soul is always guiding you. I'm not unique in the guidance that I get. And I help the ladies that I'm coaching, whether it's to do with weight loss, whether it's to do with body, symptom, finances, usually always to do with helping you with relationships, to see through the eyes of the soul with every single thing that is going on in your life. And so that you can take it from a different perspective. So without saying too much more, because I know Elaine's got lots of questions, you are soul. And as soon as you can just drop down into that and just connect with that every day, and whatever's happening to you, you kind of go, oh, there must be a reason to this. Well, let me find out what the reason is. Life becomes easier. It sets you free.
Absolutely. And I know it's a bit of a journey. It can be difficult. Some people can say these things are a bit woo-woo or, a little more esoteric than most people are used to. But I have to say, the most important thing that's come out of this has nothing to do with the weight loss. It has nothing to do with any of the generated things that people assume. It's about feeling, integrated. And integration for me has always been, a complete concept in that this is what I have always done for business. It's about integrating. But I realized very shortly after you and I connected that it goes much deeper than that. And it really was my soul trying to get me to understand that here I am spouting all about integration, but I had to get to you to understand that that has to start within. You have to integrate you. And what is maybe the first couple of things that someone should start paying attention to when you start doing this kind of soul work or practical magic, as you call it?
That's a great question. So when you're doing soul work, when you're asking your soul for guidance, when you're wanting to notice when you're getting that nudge, when you're getting soul intervention, when am I getting that? Where is it? How do I see it? How will I notice it? What does it mean? one of the first funny stories that I always tell is I was like, come on, like speak louder because I can't hear you. And I just got back, shut up then. Because basically my head is always busy. I mean, we're taught in this life from a very early age, be focused, get on the ladder, do more, until a point where we're spread so thin and we're not able to focus even on one thing properly. If we can focus our mind on one thing, we can hopefully let go of everything else. So basically, this is what I teach in most of the practices where I start. Slow down. You move too fast. And even today, because I got panicky about I'd lost an email, I'd lost something else, and I was like, went into a panic. I was like, you know what, Fiona, that doesn't help you. And I was like, oh my God, I've got to get the bank, I've got to do this. Got in my car and I got this song in my head. So this is the way that the soul comes through to you, come through to me, certainly in this way. And it was that song about slow down, you move too fast.
Too fast.
Gotta make the moment last now. And it was all about feeling groovy. Now, that's the way the soul comes through. She is comical. She is funny. She is cheeky. And nearly every single woman that I've ever worked with, she has this quirk. And it's just like, you're just taking life too seriously.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you said that. And it may come as a shock to some people, but for anyone who knows me at all, that is the very first time you have ever seen me burst into song ever. And that's coming right from the soul. There's no longer a worry about what people will think, or oh, maybe I shouldn't do that. I can't sing. I grew up being told I couldn't carry a tune, so which is sort of funny because two very good friends and I, from Scotland in Toronto, we were always asked to sing for our school. So all through school, which is very strange because, that was always something I said I didn't do. And I didn't even sing happy birthday to my kids. I would mouth the words. So coming into finding myself united and you giving me access to what you say amounts to the practical magic we all have has completely changed not just my attitude, but everything about me. I'm humming at a different vibration, and like it's hard not to smile. People say, "Oh my God, you're always smiling," and I think, "Really? Am I?" And I am. So you say slow down, which I think makes perfect sense because I was a total whirling dervish. The next thing I think is important. You gave me an exercise to look in the mirror and address my soul every day and acknowledge that I was paying attention, to acknowledge that she was there. And it's, I'll admit, felt very weird to start off, but there comes a point, and I don't think we ever talked about this, but there comes a point where the integration is so complete. It's like a done deal. It's no longer putting something out because it's already in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, it makes sense to me, but does it make sense to anyone else? But
well, there is that.
We all have this. We've all heard it. Anyone who's listening to you will have heard this. You've got all the answers on the inside, and I used to just like, why can't I get them done? So, then finding out that you do have the answers on the inside. And what I'm teaching now is you have guidance at the end of your fingertips. I mean, call it magic at the end of your fingertips, but we're just not in the habit of asking ourselves. We're not in the habit of kind of like taking responsibility. It's so much easier for someone to say, oh, tell me what to do, give you permission to do that. How do I fix, give me a pill. What do I need to do? All these external ways, but it's the new era that we're moving into. So all the information is on the inside. You kind of go, oh, don't know how to get it. But because we're running around so fast, it seems quicker for someone else to give us a diet or to give us a strategy for our business or to tell us how to fix our relationship or tell us what's wrong with our kid or whatever. All life's problems that are just always around.
Yeah.
But we never take the time to sit down. And sometimes it's not even when I sit down, it's when I'm walking or when I'm, doing something crazy, like having fun, I just go, boom, I'll get an answer. And it's like, what is it that you want an answer for? Slow down. And a lot of it is just like, just empty out your head as best as you possibly can. Get in the habit of allowing something in, because it can't get in if it's got to go through this matrix of mesh of all these thoughts and all this projection out that we're doing. We're projecting out all the time. If I speak to someone about the business, it's just like, and I tune into their body, there's a force field that's coming out from the body. Can you imagine you are going up a hill, but your engine of your car is more of a hairdryer than a Range Rover Y4, and when you're sitting there and you're straining from the inside, and that's the feeling that I feel when someone is so desperate and I've got to make it. That's how I feel it, and I feel into the ladies or gentlemen that I'm speaking to, because their body is showing me, and it sends me an image of what is going on behind the scenes.
And I think one of the things that you got through, and at this point I couldn't even tell you how, but when you're saying slow down and empty your head, that's it exactly. Like for years, different spiritual mentors and different courses I've taken and what have you, it was always about don't be attached to the outcome. And you've put that in perspective, because that's all external. And what I'm taking from what you're saying is we have to stop focusing externally. Like all that push out, all of that is external. And there is nothing, honest to God, more relaxing now than just being. My head is not this mad zoo of crazy animal thoughts and everything that's going on 24/7. I can actually be blank, which is very cool. Sounds bizarre, but what I want to do now, we've talked maybe a bit deeply about what you do. So I want you to go back, because I want the audience to know, first of all, Fiona's a very savvy businesswoman. She's had, I would say multiple careers. She's been all over the world. She's done things that I can say now I wish I had done. But at what point, what was it? What was that kernel, that thing that basically stopped you in your tracks, so that you've now done this completely, to me, 180 pivot, and you are now so in touch with source and giving to others, which I think is incredible. How did that come about? What was the the turning point for you and what brought it on?
Oh well, okay. This is kind of a funny story, and you know that scene in the film when she says, "You had me at hello."
Yes.
All right. So I was in the middle or at the end of kind of a breakup of a partnership, a business partnership, and I'd moved into this other house that I had, and I was holding on to my business so tight because it was my baby. And this was back in the UK, and I was distributing cameras, and I was, doing okay for myself. And I look at it now and I think, oh my goodness, yeah, that was a pivotal point. So I'm lying in bed, fast asleep, and I hear this really loud voice in my bedroom. Do you want to be doing this in 5 years' time? No. Oh gosh, I just said no to something I'm holding on to so tight.
Mm.
Then, do you want to be doing this in 3 years' time? Oh, hell no. What have I just said? No, I don't want to be doing this. So why am I fighting so hard for it? Do you want to be doing this in 1 year's time? No way.
Mm.
And from that point on, everything changed. So I went into the office that day and I went, okay, I've got no idea what this is all about. I looked in a magazine and instead of doing my work, and I was just like, open the magazine and I went, you know what, if you've got something to show me what my next step is, because I don't know what else I can do. Opened it up, there was a full page advert there, just doused through the magazine. It might have been a health magazine or something, and there was something there about life coaching. I went, oh, all right, okay. So you want me to do that, do you? Well, I'll go if there's space on that weekend. So I ring, there's space on that weekend. I went, okay, well, I'll have to go then, don't I? So I booked it. And I'm negotiating all the time and kind of having fun. And I realized now I was talking to myself. I was talking to myself as a soul, like, okay, something else better for me round the corner. So if you want to say she had me at hello, it was when she woke me up in the bedroom. But if I look back, I see other times when she has totally intervened, kicked me up the backside and said, that relationship's not working for you, get out of there. Yeah. So the guy becomes a drunk, or the guy becomes violent, or the guy becomes a waste of space. And they're just like, come on, move. And now when I look back, having from that point sold my business, sold my house in the UK, traveled around the world, moved to France, raised my kids in France, started my detox retreat, written the Home Detox Box. I was like, oh my God, I would have been so bored if I'd stayed where I was.
Yeah.
And this is what she's doing for me all the time. It doesn't make sense at the time.
Yeah.
And it's not as if like you get the answers straight away and everything just falls into place, but it falls into place eventually.
Even the pieces that are not to your liking, when you look back, they're little lessons that you need to go forward. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I like your expression. The bits you might not like very much.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Sometimes you feel like you're being pulled through the hedge backwards. It's just like, oh my God, what is it? But this is being created from how you believe about things or how you think about things. And without going too deep into that, it is just something for you to be aware of. Like, what sucks? What makes you feel bored? What is frustrating? And you're never sent anything that you can't deal with. Even if, I'm going through something now. It's like, okay, I'm just up leveling again.
Yeah.
Then I just need to say, right, what is this really all about? Without me thinking it's all suffering and I've been forsaken and I'm doing it wrong. Because the more we think we're doing it wrong, the more out of touch we are with our soul. Is we're not doing anything wrong. You're not broken.
I love the feeling behind how you say that. It just so rings true. And I'm hoping that the audience is seeing the radiating light that comes from you when you talk, because this this is such a giving piece from you for people. That's why I wanted to have you on the show, because it's people can see and feel when what's being offered is real. And your assistance is, well, for one, totally invaluable. It, I will warn, is not exactly what you think you're going to get um, at all. And it does tend to put things in your path that you need to always have your eyes open, or your insides open, that intuition. You're absolutely right, to be able to see the clues, to catch those breadcrumbs that have been left for you. And do you have suggestions, or perhaps a little exercise that people can do to make them more likely to pay attention to their intuition?
I do. With every single client I have, as you well know, when I'm working with someone, I ask you to follow a meditation. So to begin with, it is allowing yourself to slow down. So the meditation is long. I'm just going to go into the description of it. So it's allowing yourself to come inside rather than be affected and influenced on the outside. So you're allowing yourself to empty your head, put that in an envelope. You can pick all that up later. Bring yourself down into your body, connect with your heartbeat, connect with your breath. But one of the great things I think you're probably guiding me towards saying is that you find your safe place. You find somewhere, no matter what shitstorm is going on, what chaos, what drama, you can say, oh, there I am. You can take a step back, even if you don't move. You can just disconnect from whatever the drama is and kind of come back to your safe place, your neutral place, your soul, so that you can see through what's going on around you, the eye of the storm, if you want to call it like that. It's like, this is the still place. And I always talk with my hands, because this is what it feels like when you are surrounded by drama, but you can still find yourself in amongst it. You're calm, you're serene, you're asking for guidance. You're like, how do I get out of this? Which way do I go? And you're just able to sort of clear it all away a little bit and move forward and just stay safe within yourself. And this is probably one of the first things I always do with people. I mean, obviously afterwards, as you well know, we always do, how stressed are you? What influence is that having on your body? What influence is that having on your soul? Because if you're at that peak stress point, or even 8 or 9 or 7 or 6 or 5, anywhere down this gauge of stress, you're influencing your body. And you cannot get through this mesh of stress, any information. We have to, no matter what's going on, bring ourselves to our safe place. And some people have like a note or a frequency or a picture, or there's just something that always brings you back. I normally ask you to have like a handhold. I did for a long time. I used to paint one of my fingernails. When I first met my soul and got in touch with my soul, and I wanted to, communicate with her better, I was like, oh yeah, I could ask. Oh yeah, she's still there. Right, okay, I know who I am. So that would be a piece of advice. Not just slow down, but find out who you really are in the midst of the chaos that's around you.
It takes a while. This doesn't necessarily happen overnight. It would be nice, because I think, as humans, we want everything like that. Doesn't always work that way. But I think in hindsight, that's a good thing. And I know that you often say it's not from you, it's through you, which I think is quite incredible. When you want to give someone the word I'm looking for, when you want to give somebody, I guess, the gift of opening them up to themselves,
Mhm.
what is what's the first thing after, okay, they've slowed down and they're getting into meditation, what's sort of that next thing that you can do to help you bring yourself to you?
Good question. And I was asking myself as you were asking that, what would you like me to answer for this? And this is what I've been told. When you start recognizing your guidance, you're just as quick to forget it. Like tomorrow, you'll just think, no, that wasn't real. Or you'll have something amazing happen, like I get these songs, or you'll see a number plate and you kind of go, jackpot, that's just what I needed to know, that I was thinking along the right lines. Or the person that you've wanted to fix something arrives just magically. You're just like, oh, how did that happen? All I said was it would be really cool if somebody could bring me blah, blah, blah. And it arrives. So what I've been asked to share with you right now is the more often you notice it, but you make a diary of it, you bring it, okay, this is interesting. You bring it into the physical. So you acknowledge it. It's not just, oh yeah, that was great, that was lucky, because you could just dismiss it. Oh, that was luck, that was chance. Oh yeah, serendipity, blah, blah. And it's gone. When I started writing the stories out about how I've created or what happened to me after my soul had me at hello, being guided to move back to France, how we found the house, ending up in a village that I've since discovered, was a place of the witch trials in 1609, and I was one of the witches because that was a past life. Now that I've made a note of all those stories, of all the kind of and it sort of just written them down, given them life, just put them out there, and kind of, if I ever doubt myself, just you can go back and kind of go, well, yeah, that happened. And then I started making notes about how I was raising intuitive kids. What kind of weird and wonderful things they said to me as a child without even knowing about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I would say the best thing you can possibly do is look back at instances where the soul intervened and you think, oh my God, what's on earth's going to happen here? But you still floated through it. You still came out the other side. So those were soul interventions. And then what did you create just by having like, oh, that would be awesome if that could happen. And it does. So making a note of those kind of things, as well as being observant. I mean, people talk about 1111, 1111, number sequences. I also talk about when an animal jumps into your life and does something strange and you think, oh, I wonder what that means. Your spider thing. So,
Yeah.
These are all messages. These are all things for you to look at in a different way. Carry on with what you were going to say there. That's a great story.
Two things. Yeah. Not a great story from the inside of the story.
No.
Very quickly for the audience, at one point, I think a lot of me was resisting, but there was some of me that knew what Fiona was offering I really needed. And I had talked to her about a problem I had as a child that I didn't find out till I was like 45 years old. I had, in the middle of the night, been bitten by an entire nest of spiders all over my face. And it was so traumatic. I buried it so far. I didn't remember living in that house. I couldn't tell you the address. I couldn't tell you anything about it. And at an event with my parents were talking about different things when we first came to Canada. And just as my father was going to tell a story, my mother gave him one of her famous looks. And he stopped talking. And I started sort of pushing them and found out the story of what had actually happened to me. Well, lo and behold, when I tell Fiona this, because I had 3 days in a row got up and I have used commercial concoctions and you name it to keep spiders out of my home. I've done it for years. Okay. I am so spider phobic. I say I have ESSP, extrasensory spider perception. Well, after 3 days, I said to Fiona, what on earth is going on? And she said, well, tell me about the spiders. So I gave her that whole story. And to my dismay, she said, what was different in your life? Well, geez, I just had a baby sister come into my life. Baby sister who had colic really bad. And I got a gift for her birth, which I tried to give back because I wanted them to give her back. Love my sister, but she was very loud and all she did was cry. And she was kind of, harshing my vibe and interfering because I had my mother, my father, my grandmother, and my aunt all to myself for almost 5 years. Well, Fiona says, well, the spider thing, you did that. You set up that chaos to take the spotlight off your sister and put it back on you where you felt it belonged. Not what I wanted to hear. And I have to say, things have been better with the spiders once I acknowledged that. For me, I bristled. I was annoyed with Fiona for a few days. And on day 3 of being annoyed, I went into my bathroom and this giant spider, so big he had a briefcase, was sitting on the toilet. Right on the toilet seat. I have never seen that in my life. And I just thought, okay, you know what? I surrender. I surrender, okay? Yeah, I get it. My soul is trying to get through to me, and Fiona is just the conduit that's trying to make that happen. And it was like, okay, yep, I'll acknowledge. I was so jealous of the baby, I put that in my own path. And don't have that anymore, which is awesome because they terrify me. Not so bad anymore. But that was something that I had to come to terms with. I had to actually acknowledge all those pieces and go inside so that all of me could deal with it. And without you, Fiona, I would still be eking and eyeing through life and possibly poisoning the humans and pets in the home with all these commercial preparations. That was just a joke. I'm not poisoning anybody.
What I wanted to say, because what I remember from that story as well, is how you looked 100% different when you'd taken that on board and you'd let it go. You looked so different. What we can do is we just let it all go, and our face just looks different and we act differently in our body, and it's just like, oh, I'm not holding that anymore. It's so much like when we look like 10 or 20 years. I've seen ladies, you saw another lady that I work with, and you went, oh my God, what happened to her? And it was just because we had a clearing, and it's just, I'm not holding on to that anymore. She looked the same as you did, just like, poof, that.
Oh, yeah.
Moved.
a total difference, and that's another reason that it just totally fascinates me. And even though we try to pay attention all the time, we do tend to lose focus. That's, I guess, the human side of us is too busy being busy, I guess, is how I'd put it. But you worded that very interestingly. You said things that jump into your lives. So let's actually talk about something a little more fun, or a little less human in soul, maybe, or maybe a little more soul. Okay. You have a lovely little furry creature that has jumped into your life. Tell us about it's Flocky, right?
Yeah, it's Flocky. My partner was at work one day, and he'd seen something on Facebook about some local farm, and the mother of this goat had, abandoned this goat and rejected it. And he said, "Are you interested?" And I didn't really take it on board. I was like, "Yeah, it's cute." It's cute. Don't need another animal in the house. Anyway, I said, "Well, I'm not taking it on myself. It'll be a whole family affair." So anyway, we went to see the baby goat, and he was cute. Anyway, so yes, we have a baby goat, a kid goat, but it isn't lost on me why that goat came into our life. We may have been thinking about what we're going to do when Maya gets older. Maybe we'll get another dog. So there's a couple of different things that sort of jump into mind when you talk about it. It's just when he runs down the road, you can't help but laugh, because he's hopping and he's skipping and he's all over the place and he's on his tippy toes. And when I looked up goat energy, the same as I do with animals, and what does that significant, what's the significance of that? They always climb to the highest bit. They're always a scallywag. They're always up to hijinks. They're very intelligent. So all of that just was not lost on me in what I am presenting, something kind of different that other people aren't really doing. It's like, you don't really want a dog. You could be, something way more playful. So yes, he's still in our life at the moment, and for as long as he wants to stay. If he wants to call in another family with goat brothers and sisters, then I'm open to that as well. I don't want to really hold on to anything really fiercely, because everything has its own dynamic, the same as you understand when you bring up children as well. They have to live their own life. So I had a dog also that had to go and live with another family, and I'm open to that for the goat as well. But for what he's taught me, yeah, amazing. My little fur baby. But I wanted to say this as well. So the animals that come into your life often have a very similar story to show you about your life as well.
Yes, that is very true.
Yeah, Maya was a little dog, and she came to me when I spoke to my black Labrador, and I just said, "What would you love more than anything else?" Thinking she'd show me a bone or a toy, and she went, "A best friend." And I was like, okay, how am I going to do that? And I just put it out there, and I was just like, if a best friend comes along, I don't want to have to go and buy a pedigree dog or something like that. Just, if a dog needs a home, fine. Anyway, Maya came along a few months later, and Magic, who is the name of my dog, she just took the dog under her arm and she raised the dog. But Magic has had to go and live somewhere else, so we still have Maya. So you kind of think, well, that's her story. She also sort of left her mum a little bit too early, but Magic became her mum. Flocky, he was rejected by his mummy. So you think mother issues. Does any of that relate? She's been my greatest teacher. So sometimes you're talking about your spider story. You don't always want to look at the things that are difficult, but if you can look at it, and I always have play in there. I always make it fun and ridiculous, so that you can look at something that maybe is a little bit difficult to look at.
Yeah. And dispense with it, which is absolutely incredible. It's like holding up a bus. Okay, I finally put the bus down. Oh my God, what a relief that is. what's that old adage when someone's hitting their head on the wall? Yeah, what, why are you doing that? Because it feels so good when I stop.
Why are you carrying that bus? Because at some point I'll put it down.
Yeah. I do not know. Well, I have to say this has been incredible. I cannot believe, first of all, where the time has gone. We're going to make sure that on Fiona's page you have all the different ways that you can connect with her, and I strongly suggest that you do. Also, it's a really cool place to be in the southwest of France, Retreat Biarritz sounds pretty delicious to me. So for the moment, Fiona has an incredible group on Facebook for Practical Magic, and I suggest that you connect with her there as well. We will put up all the social bits and bobs and links to her website, etc., on the page. Now, what I like to do is at the end of our time together, I like to ask my guest to share with the audience one little tip or tweak or hack that you use daily, either for business and or for pleasure, that you can pass on to the audience so that they too can use it.
Okay. Just deciding which one would be best, which one am I being shown that would be best. For a start, I always ask. And I always say thank you. One of the things that I would say, to be able to get into this safe place, your home, it is a practice, and it is a practice that gets easier and easier and easier. And I'll share with you at the end just what kind of fun stuff can come up when you allow yourself to empty your mind. So, for example, it's an animal communication technique, but it's of course, when you're animal communicating, what are you doing? You're making sure that you are out of the way. You step out of the way.
Yeah.
All right. So start with this so that you train your focus, because humans are, especially entrepreneurs, mothers, people who are busy in their heads, just don't allow the space. So pick a point that you want to look at and just be relaxed in your body and just keep on looking at that particular point. It can be a spot on the wall, it can be a point, but just, I'm committing to watch that for a minute. And while you're watching that for just a minute, just allow yourself to pick up any noise that might be in your ears. You might have static, or luckily, like me, have tinnitus, therefore you've got a loud screeching in your ears, which always brings you back. But just pick up the silence, the sound of silence. So you're looking, you're listening, and you're just going to do that for a minute, and you're just aware of what's on your skin. So you're just, in other words, bringing yourself back into you. And it's a practice. And this is you being present. This is you being present with your kids, really listening. This is you being present with your pets. This is you being present with your business, doing one thing at a time. A funny story that I practice with this, I had some sewing to do. And because it's so fiddly, you have to write, you can't have loads of other things going. You can only do one thing at a time, especially when you're sewing or drawing or something like that, but sewing. Now, my sight isn't what it was. So I have the tiny needle with the tiny hole at the end of the needle and the thread. I can't see the end of the needle and I can't see the end of the thread. So I breathe, and I go down in. Do you know what? I can't see this, but you can. Please thread this needle for me. After trying 20 times, I give up. I can't do it. The next time, it threads. And I went, that is magic.
Yes.
I'm sewing away and I'm thinking, oh, end of the thread. Wonder if I can do that again. Trying. Oh, what did I do last time? Homing. I can't see the end of the needle. You can. Please show me how. Please do this for me. Next time it goes in. Every single area of your life, you are able to ask for guidance. And you kind of think, oh, I can't ask for everything. But it's faster. You get further. You have more fun when you allow yourself to step out of the way. So that's the practice. And it's just, don't overthink it. Don't stew your brain.
That is beautiful and really helpful. And that makes perfect sense. Because, yeah, I get the can't really see it anymore bit. I want to say thank you so much to Fiona. I appreciate your time and your wisdom and your expertise. And I want to say to our audience, make the best of your today every day, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.
Brought to you by BBP TV Show and Truel Social.